To all who are here in this sanctuary, or connecting with us through technology, or watching after the fact, I welcome you all to People's Church. My name is Marcy Madison. My pronouns are she, her, and I serve as the secretary on the Board of Trustees. Worship today is led by our minister, the Reverend Carin Bringelson, and worship associate Josh Wagner. We also have Judy Michelin on piano and Matt Wild on internet outreach, and our special musician, Caden Messenger. All people of goodwill are welcome here at People's Church. As an official welcoming congregation, we celebrate and honor your sexual orientation, gender expression, and gender identity, as well as your race, ethnicity, and cultural background. We also celebrate and honor your journeys with faith and doubt, your comfort and discomfort with money, your bodies of all shapes and sizes, your abilities and disabilities, both seen and unseen, your age, your generational perspectives, and so much more. Whoever you are accepted just exactly as you are. A special welcome goes out to any newcomer joining worship today. If you'd like to be added to our mailing list, please contact the church office, or if you're here in person, fill out a green card, which you can find in the pew rack in front of you, and place it in the offering plate as it gets passed around later in the service. Online participants are welcome to chat with everyone gathered on Zoom following worship. And in-person participants are invited for coffee and conversation in the lower level following the service. If you have an order of service, please look at the back and consider if there's something there you'd like to get involved with here in our vibrant congregation. I'm excited to share that we raised over $375 for Iowa Safe Schools. Yeah, on game night on Friday. Thank you to the youth, the Faith Formation Council, and the membership team for a great game night. We also want to let you know that the care team is here to help and is looking for helpers. Today after the service, Deb Booth will be outside the sanctuary. Yes, okay, to help people sign up to be helpers on the care team. Is she in the sanctuary to wave? No, not yet. Okay, that's fine. Look for purple. Finally, we extend a big thank you to the many volunteers who've made today's gatherings possible. Thank you, Faith Formation volunteers Emily Hosselton, Aaron Wild, Megan Jones, and Laura McGraw. Bill Hart on the sound system. Our greeters today, Judy Price and Karen Pierce, and to the kitchen crew headed up by Jill Jones. With a sense of gratefulness for this time being together, I invite you into a moment of awareness, which will begin and end with the ringing of our singing bowl.
during this month when we are exploring the theme of the practices of trust, I offer you these words from the Reverend Katie Kandarian Morris. Here we have come into this sacred space, quieter now with our readiness. Hushed voices, hoping, trusting for so many things. For connection, for communion, for inspiration, for information, for healing, for wholeness, for words, for music, for celebration and consolation. Here we have come into this space, bringing all of who we are. Let us be willing, however we are changed. Come, let us worship together. In the tradition of our Unitarian Universalist ancestors, we light a chalice each time we gather. So as Addie and Kelsey come forward to light our chalice here in the sanctuary, I invite all of those online to light a candle nearby or to hold a warm intention in your heart. And as you are willing and able, please join in reading aloud our chalice lighting words. As together we say, we trust our chalice to steward the flame. We trust our flame to illuminate the mission. We trust our mission to enliven the community. We trust our community to light the chalice.
Join me in saying the words of affirmation of this church. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Our gathering hymn today is number 1024 in your teal hymnal. We will sing 4 verses, with each verse featuring a different action. The action words are do, sing, laugh, and trust. I invite all to rise in body and or spirit to sing together. You got to do when the Spirit says do. You got to do when the Spirit says do. When the Spirit says do, you've got to do, oh Lord. You've got to do when the Spirit says do. Spirit says do, 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 Spirit says do. You got to do. You got to sing when the Spirit says sing. You got to sing when the Spirit says sing. You got to sing, you've got to sing, oh Lord. You've got to sing when the Spirit says sing. Spirit says sing, 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 Spirit says sing. You got to laugh when the Spirit says laugh. You got to laugh when the Spirit says laugh. When the Spirit says laugh, you got to laugh, oh Lord. You got to laugh when the Spirit says laugh. Spirit says laugh, 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 Spirit says laugh. You got to trust when the Spirit says trust. You got to trust when the Spirit says trust. When the Spirit says trust, you got to trust, oh Lord. You got to trust when the Spirit says trust. Spirit says trust, 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 Spirit says trust.
Yes, indeed. Thank you all. You may be seated unless, of course, you would like to come forward to hear a story up close and personal with me. That means anyone who likes to move their bodies, who likes to see things and touch beautiful, soft things. People of all ages are welcome to come forward. I have a special thing up here I want to show you today. In fact, you can come touch it if you want. So our book today is called Yo Soy Muslim, and that means I am Muslim in Spanish. Has anyone heard that word Muslim before? Anyone, anywhere? Some folks back there, some folks down here. A Muslim is someone who practices the religion of Islam. And that is the second most popular religion in the whole world. About 24% of people follow Islam around the world. So that word Ramadan, have you ever heard that word Ramadan? Raise your hand. Ramadan, anyone? Ramadan? No. Maybe. Well, guess what? Ramadan started this weekend. And it goes for a whole month, and for this, from one new moon to the next new moon, Muslims will pray together, they will fast. That means no eating, no drinking for the daylight hours. They will pray and reflect and spend time in community. Now, sometimes when they pray, they use something called a prayer rug, which is what I have here. And sometimes they pray up to 5 times a day. And sometimes they try to pray facing Mecca, which is the holiest city in their religion, and it's located in Saudi Arabia. Now, sometimes Muslims memorize. Did you notice that Camden had his music memorized? He didn't have any words or sheet music in front of him. Sometimes Muslims memorize 99 names for Allah. 99. Who can count to 99? Yeah, some of us can. Well, some of the names that they have given Allah or God are phrases like the merciful, the most sacred, the embodiment of peace, the great forgiver, the wise one. So let's look in this book and see if there's anything else that shows that Muslims sometimes do. This is called Yo Soy Muslim by Mark Gonzalez and illustrated by Merdot Amini. And it has some beautiful images in it. And it goes like this. It has been said, if you climb a tree to the very top and laugh, your smile will touch the sky. And if you stay there overnight, you will learn to count stars like dreams. Inside cities, where skyscrapers cloud the view of everything above, walk in the steel shadows, remembering Mayan pyramids that too lived amongst the heavens. There are questions we all ask when we are learning what it means to be human. Who invented my hands? Why wasn't I born with wings? And does the moon ever get lonely? There are questions the world will ask us. What are you? And where are you from? And there will come a day when some people in the world will not smile at you. On that day, tell them this: Yo soy Muslim. I am from Allah, angels, and a place almost as old as time. I speak Spanish, Arabic, and dreams. Mi mama creates life. Mi abuelo worked the fields. My ancestors did amazing things, and so will I. No matter what they say, know you are wondrous, a child of crescent moons, a builder of mosques, a descendant of brilliance, an ancestor in training. Say it with me. Yo soy Muslim. Let's hear you. Yo soy Muslim. Our prayers were here before any borders were. Say it with me again. Yo soy Muslim. And the deserts hold the secrets of souls. Yo soy Muslim. Hummingbirds send blessings with their wings. Yo soy Muslim. If you listen closely to the drum, you can hear God. Dance, smile, laugh, pray. Say it with me. Yo soy Muslim. Yo soy Muslim. By those who dance with the wind, smile at the sun, laugh in the rain, and pray. And that is the end of the story. That's just one tiny window into what some Muslims might do. Now, I do have some prayer rug coloring sheets if you want to take one back with you. And actually, if you want to pass them out as you go back to your seats in case someone else wants some, that would be helpful for me too. All right? All right. We're going to sing our beloveds back to their seats with the song From You I Receive, number 402. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live.
At Unitarian Universalists, one of the shared values we hold is that of interdependence, which means that we honor the interdependent web of all existence with reverence for the great web of life, and with humility, we acknowledge our place in it. It also means that we covenant to protect Earth and all beings from exploitation. We will create and nurture sustainable relationships of care and respect, mutuality, and justice. We will work to repair harm and damaged relationships. Our living tradition draws inspiration from direct experiences of transcending mystery and wonder, as well as from sacred, secular, and scientific understandings that help us make meaning and live by our values. Today's source of inspiration comes from a book by Jess Reynolds entitled Love Like Thunder, Meditations. The poem is entitled Couples Counseling. Every Thursday, God and I go to couples counseling. He usually grumbles, "Beloved, I have billions of souls to look after. I don't have time for this." I always say, "You have all the time. That's one of the perks of the whole God thing." I always win. Priya, our therapist, tells me maybe winning shouldn't be my goal. Okay, maybe. But you try being in Holy Communion with the God who's always right. All I want, I say, is for you to really listen. Maybe let my prayers change your great plan. This is not all I want. I would also love if he occasionally took out the trash without being asked. But Priya says it's best to be realistic. If I'm honest, it's the closeness I'm missing. Not just the light, giddy joy from when we first found each other, but the quiet, holy mornings we used to spend in worship or going for neighborhood walks, or when we were really lucky, sleeping in past 8. He and I are both busier now, and I don't know if date night will fix this, no matter what Priya says. Still, we make dinner reservations, and we come back to the couch in this office every Thursday afternoon, and he and I keep reaching for one another, praying that someday we'll both find our way back home. Here ends the reading. Our next hymn is There Is a Love. We will sing it through 4 times. The first time, we will sing it in unison, using the words me and I. The second time, we will sing it in unison, using the words us and we. Then we will sing it 2 more times, again using the words us and we, but the last 2 times we'll sing it in a round. The first side will sing with me, and then the second side will come in with Reverend Carin. When the first side gets to the end of the song, repeat the last line until everyone is singing together again. I invite all to rise in body and or spirit to sing together, There Is a Love.
On the slide.
There is a love
holding me.
There is a love
holding all that I love.
There is a love
Holding
all
I rest in this love. There is a love holding us. There is a love holding all that we love.
There is a love
Holding
all
we rest
in this love. There is a love holding us. There is a love holding all that we love. There is a love holding all we rest in this love. There is a love holding us. There is a love holding all we love. There is a love holding all we rest in this love.
we
Rest in this love.
Thank you. Oh, it takes a lot of trust to sing in round, doesn't it? It is good to be together. It is good to sing together. It is good to trust each other enough to sing in round. Now, I don't know about you, but after a week like this past one, I need to be with you all in order to regain my trust in humanity. In addition to all the private and personal pains in our lives, is anyone else feeling the public ones this week? the removal of protections for trans beloveds from the Civil Rights Act of Iowa, the call to defund libraries, in effect to censor library materials, the cavalier dismissal of federal service providers upon whom millions of people rely, the federal efforts to dismantle the common good, like the international rule of law, for example. It's hard to trust the people who have been elected to represent us. It's hard to trust that they will stand by their oath to protect the Constitution. It's hard to trust these days. And yet, here we are, this month of women's history, this month when Ramadan starts, this month when Lent begins. Here we are exploring the theme of the practices of trust. Now, as we begin to explore this theme, I suggest we start by considering what exactly we mean by trust. And by we, I mean you. I invite you to consider what names you might have for trust. Josh and I tried it this week. Together, we tried to brainstorm 99 names for trust. I don't think we came up with as many creative ones as some of the names for Allah, but it was a very interesting experience nonetheless. Now, before I tell you what names we imagined, I invite you to take 30 seconds and write down as many words or synonyms for trust that you can think of. Find a corner on your order of service, or type them into your phone, or if you're on Zoom, feel free to chat them, put them in the chat. Names for trust. What words come to you when you think of trust? So I'm going to start timing you. You have 30 seconds. Go. Okay, that was 30 seconds. How many did you get?
5.
I heard 5. Did anyone get more than 5? 6? 9? Excellent. Wow. Okay, now, here's another exercise in trust. Turn to a person or two nearby you and see if you have any words in common with each other. Show each other your lists and notice if there are overlapping concepts. If you are on Zoom, read through the lists of words that people submitted and see if there are any duplicates. Okay, I'm giving you 30 seconds. Go. Okay, 30 seconds goes fast. And I forgot to invite you to have a conversation with yourself, too, to see all of that is just fine. Were there any words in common? What? Typical. Difficult. Reliable. Faith. Confidence.
We have none in common.
Nothing in common. Oh. Say it. Another common one? I'm sorry, my ears are. Belief. And friendship. Were there any on Zoom? Beauty, loyalty. Yeah. Well, okay, so Josh and I had it a little easier this week. Not only did we have more than a minute, but we kept an electronic list where we could see what each other had already written. And by that, we could build off of each other. And Josh and I got up to about 60 names. They included everything from trusting your gut intuition, to trusting your chosen family, to trusting the way that seasons change. And even with the ability to see each other's brainstorms, we still had some overlap. There were 3 duplicates: care, community, and collaboration. So maybe we were both imagining trust. We were both imagining that human care leads to being able to trust each other, and that trusting each other is a way we show care for each other. Maybe we were acknowledging that in a community of trust, we are able to collaborate. Trust can be seen and felt in so many different ways with so many different words. Now, interestingly, it wasn't until about line 55 in our electronic list that I typed in the F word. That is faith. In what do we trust? In whom or in what do we place our faith? Today's reading explores the uneasy, sometimes tenuous relationship with faith, a relationship with trust, a relationship with what the poet calls God. Now, when I'm being honest, which I try to be with you, as vulnerable as it feels at times, I sometimes have to translate that G word. You might have a really different response to the word God than I do. If the word God works for you, great. And if not, as we proceed, I invite you to find a word or phrase that helps you lean into a life-giving love. Now, before we explore that poem more closely, let me share with you a framework that I tentatively developed based on my own experiences and reflections. I call it the 3 T's of trusting. The 3 ingredients to become more trustworthy and trusting are: 1, tender intuition. Tender intention. 2, transparent truth-telling. And 3, time. So this first ingredient for practicing trust of tender intention, like trying to approach one another with a hope to connect, trying to build bridges of understanding rather than walls of defensiveness, coming into a relationship with curiosity and humility rather than entitlement and know-it-allness. So that's number 1, an intention of tenderness. The second ingredient for practicing trust is transparent truth-telling, otherwise known as honesty, but it didn't have a T, so I had to. So this starts by acknowledging our own truth, being honest with ourselves about who we are and how we work, being honest about our circumstances and our reactions to events. Now, if you've ever been lied to, you know the opposite is true. It's very hard to trust when someone deceived you on purpose. That's why honesty, transparent truth-telling is such a big part of building trust. And then the third ingredient is time. And by time, I'm thinking both of short-term and long-term time. And by short-term time, I mean that we need time with each other, time to share space and make memories, time to sing together, laugh together, play games together, like at game night on Friday. And we also need long-term time, as in many weeks and months, even years. It takes time to really develop our trusting muscles. So that's the framework of the 3 T's of trusting: an intention of tenderness, transparent truth-telling, and time. Now, if you read my article in this month's Voice newsletter, you know that I have learned firsthand how easily trust can be broken. Mine was a personal story of losing the trust of a young person in my life. As I reflect back on that experience when our offspring was 10 years old, I can notice how my ongoing efforts to become trustworthy required intentional tenderness, honest and transparent truth-telling, and lots of time. Perhaps, like me, you have some stories in your own life where trust was broken. And in order to move forward, you will need, or did need, these 3 T's of trusting. Could you approach yourself or another with an intention to be tender? Could you bring a commitment to honesty and engage in transparent truth-telling? Could you make time for yourself or another and practice the patience required to build trust over a long period of time? Trusting is complicated and hard and worth it. We need trust in order to go deeper with each other. And we need trust in order to grow deeper in our spiritual lives. The poem that Josh read for us earlier offers us a slightly humorous glimpse into how trust building may work or may not work in our spiritual lives. Using our 3 T's of trusting framework, let's explore first the intentions that were expressed in the poem. So here we see that the couple's therapist is encouraging them to bring a little more tenderness into their intentions. As the narrator admits, Priya, or our therapist, tells me maybe winning shouldn't be my goal. Okay, maybe, but you try being in holy communion with a God who is always right. It's hard to trust when a relationship is all about winning or losing. Spiritual relationships of trust require more compassion, more caring, more tenderness, more humility. We can hear the defensiveness in the narrator's retorts. You try it. It's not easy to give up trying to win every round. It is hard work to be in holy communion with a beloved, with ourselves, with something that is greater than ourselves. And yet, if we want deeper spiritual connections, setting some tender intentions might just help us grow spiritually and deepen our trust. Of course, tender intentions won't be enough. There needs to be transparent truth-telling. In the poem, the narrator reveals layers of truths. First, they want to be listened to. All I want, I say, is for you to really listen. Maybe let my prayers change your great plan. Then, they admit, there is another truth too. This is not all I want. I would also love if he took the trash out occasionally without being asked. So on the surface, the narrator is complaining, but the truth beneath that annoyed disappointment is something more vulnerable. If I'm honest, it's the closeness I'm missing. Not just the light, giddy joy from when we first found each other, but the quiet, holy mornings we used to spend in worship or going for neighborhood walks, or when we're really lucky, sleeping in past 8. Sometimes we have to keep digging in order to get to that truth nugget. In this case, a deep desire for closeness with the holy. honestly peeling back all the layers in our spiritual lives and getting to our own truth nuggets helps us to build trust in our own spiritual journeys, in our own spiritual relationships. And finally, that ingredient of time. The narrator and God take short-term time together every Thursday to meet with Priya and for the counseling sessions, and plus, they schedule date nights. And yet, there's still something missing. You hear it in their conversations. God usually grumbles, "Beloved, I have billions of souls to look after. I don't have time for this." I always say, "You have all the time. That's one of the perks of the whole God thing." It's slightly amusing to imagine that even infinity does not feel like enough time. How do we find enough time to prioritize being in communion? It takes time to be in spiritual relationships, both day-to-day time and the time of the long-term kind. Given our 3 T's of trusting framework, the couple in the poem seems to be on shaky ground. The poem is showing us all the challenges of trust building. And yet, there is also something breathtaking at the end, heart-touching even. Maybe it offers glimpses of hope. The poem ends with this: "He and I keep reaching for one another, praying that someday we'll both find our way back home." Finding our way back home is such a deep human desire. Home as in something life-giving, some place that protects and nurtures, a place that says you belong, a people that say you are beloved, a reminder again and again, you are divine love embodied. Beloveds, let us keep reaching for one another, building trust in all the ways that we can, knowing that together we can build the world home we dream about. May it be so, and blessed be.
Each week, we participate as a community in the spiritual practice of generosity. The offering we collect today will go to support the mission of People's Church, which is leading compassionate lives through spiritual growth and just action. You have the option of putting cash or a check into the offering plate being passed here in the sanctuary, or you can also, 1, mail a check to the church, 2, donate online at peoplesuu.org, or 3, use the Vanco mobile app. And now, in a spirit of generosity and compassion, this morning's offering will now be gratefully given and lovingly received.
Thank you. Thank you all for all the ways you embody generosity. May we be transformed by our giving. May the world be transformed by our gifts. As we enter now into a time of prayerful meditation, I invite you to silently name your great joys and your deep sorrows. For those who would like to come forward to light a candle and place it in the sand or put a stone into our sacred communal water, I invite you to come forward down the center aisle for that. And Josh will start by lighting a candle for all of the upside downness we feel in our world, for those who are most impacted by the violence of words and deeds here in the state and in the entire world. I invite you forward now. Nice big one. As you are willing and able, I invite you to join me in a spirit of prayer and meditation. Spirit of life and love, God of many names and no name at all, we gather in many ways, with many joys worthy of celebration and many sorrows worthy of lamentation. May we be reminded that love is greater than hate, that trust can overcome fear, that we are not alone in our struggles, that there is always something for which we can give thanks. May we be reminded that we are part of an interdependent web of life and of love. May we rest in this love. Our closing hymn today, the one we get to sing together, is our hymn of the month, which is number 1052, The Oneness of Everything. So please rise in all the ways that we do to sing together number 1052.
Of hands, or light to meet the eye, past the reaches of the mind. There find the key to nature's harmony, in a architecture so entwined. Grace the sky and carry all who join in love expanding. The message of peace will rise in flight, taking the weight of the world upon its wings. In the oneness of in the dance of trees, who stir before the first breath of wind is yet perceived. Trust in the song becoming one with the dance, and all mysteries can be believed. Songs of lives long past that touch our own are written in the earth ever giving, and now to maintain the harmony gives to us all lives worth living. For the oneness of everything. Still we seek to find a truth that we might understand and reduce to terms defined. Vast and immense song to sing of the oneness of everything.
You may be seated.
All are invited to read aloud our words to extinguish the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
And before we get to enjoy one last gift of music, I offer you this blessing. Go in peace, go in love, knowing always that you have enough and that you are enough. Blessed be.